Every time I have thrown a leg over a motorcycle and headed out the door for a long trip, I have come home with insights and revelations. Most of the time, these life lessons pertain to my inner world. That is, I learn new things about myself and how I fit into the universe unfolding around me. While there is very little I can do to affect how the world turns at the macro level, on the micro level, how I act and respond to challenges is completely within my control. The last adventure that I embarked upon with my friend Kevin, we called the Mother Road Tour, and it offered more than its share of learning opportunities. It seemed that small things and circumstances were constantly breaking or conspiring against us. Some of these things were small and self-inflicted, like when I washed my key fob or Kevin set his leaking hydration bladder on his hotel bed. Still others were more consequential, such as my bike breaking down or a family emergency arising back home. I have not always been good at responding to the small stuff. It is the minor frustrations and annoyances that send me into a screaming fit of rage. On this trip, the combination of high temperatures, East Coast humidity, and heavy traffic was the straw that broke the camel's back. And at one point on the last day of the trip, I just had to let it out. Fucking wanna go home! Not pretty, I know, but I am human, and sometimes you just have to scream. On the other hand, I've always been good at handling big problems. If there is a true crisis that needs my attention, I always manage to stay calm and do whatever needs to be done. I may not always like it, but most of the time the only way to overcome an obstacle is to face it head on, figuring out a way around it, over it, or through it. One such example happened on our last trip when my bike experienced overheating issues. My wife and I could either sit in a hotel room feeling sorry for ourselves while waiting for the bike to be repaired, or we could get a car and make the most of the time we had scheduled. As a functioning adult, I know that handling my personal challenges rests solely on my shoulders. Of course, as I was growing up, my parents were there to help me through life, offering me both financial and emotional support, but at some point I realized that if I was going to be successful in life, I needed to learn to stand on my own 2 feet and pay my own way. Running back to mommy and daddy every time I struggled in life certainly was not fair to them, nor good for me. I am not saying that we should not be kind and helpful to each other. I have been the beneficiary of many helping hands over the course of my life, and I have also offered my support to friends and strangers when needed. But there is a line that should not be crossed. For example, I have broken down on the side of the road when a fellow rider offered his help. I gladly accepted that kind offer. However, I would never ask that individual to pay for the repair of my motorcycle. I bought the bike, I decided to take the trip. The responsibility of funding my ride and any resulting problems that may arise sit squarely on my shoulders, not on those of the Good Samaritan, and certainly not on those of my YouTube followers. Sure, I was fortunate to have great parents, and I realize that some have larger crosses to bear. But at some point, we have to take responsibility for the choices we have made and stop asking others to bear our burdens. I realize some will think this harsh, but to not do so means that we have chosen to be forever trapped by circumstances beyond our control. I do not always like being an adult and accepting responsibility for my actions. However, I still choose to do so because I refuse to relinquish my right to self-determination. While I cannot control the things that might happen to me, I can always control how I respond. Continue to ride safely, my friends.